and I'm getting damn tired of coming down here and watch a bunch of cripples. This is terrible. We've got a city manager that's supposed to manage something, and you're going to say I'm not on the item. The hell I'm not. You go back to item 21, they're talking about $10,000 that somebody forgot about or thought they could operate a business without electricity. Now we're talking about $3 million, and nobody gives a damn about anything here. There's about 20 different items that you got to look into. You don't look into anything. And how I'm going to prove this is there's not one of you here that owned a business, ever owned a business, or knows how to operate a business. I know how to operate a business. I've been operating them for 57 years, and I never had so much stupidity put in front of me as what I see now. Why don't you listen to Sal DeCiccio? And now Jim disappeared. No, he is over there. But you guys are going to have to talk to your partners here. Lay on them. Smack them up the side of the head. Get their attention. They're not paying attention. Bill Gates there brought up some good stuff. Why didn't they bring this up before? Somebody did. But you don't have anybody in the city employment here that knows anything. It just runs over their head, then it ends up with the city council to make up the decision. That's a disaster.
So, Mr. Vint, on the, I was going to let you
I am on the
guide that
item.
direction.
We're talking about $3 million now, over $3 million. I bet there's not one object here. Take B, for instance. Did you read that? How about C? Did you read that? 28,000. A minute ago, you were worried about 10. Go to D, that's 15,000. It just never ends. But
So
nobody looks at anything. The city manager don't give a damn because he's
Item
just
C,
getting
Mr.
paid
Vint,
anyway.
is for purchase of fire hydrant replacement parts. Are you in favor of that or opposed?
Well, certainly, we got to have fire hydrants.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for your testimony. Appreciate it very much. The next speaker will be Dee Dee Barker. You have up to 2 minutes to provide testimony on the payment ordinance.
Mayor and Council, Diane Barker, Dee Dee Barker, District 7. There are about 27 items here, and it's for the city controller to disperse, not only to pay vendors, but also there's a payment authority on our contracts. And from what I can see, that more than likely the city may need some of these things. There are pumps and vacuums. But, you know, we had great testimony from the police department, and a lot of it was very emotional. I think people felt it, but the city pays a lot for our police. We buy a lot of things. We get a revenue from the federal government. I can remember we had $5 million last year, just an example for some of the cameras. But on item G here, we're buying 58 ballistic helmets and night visions for $50,000. Now, this does come from a grant, and I'm pointing this out is because we do a lot for the police department, and they're doing for us, but I understand we're one of the highest paid for the police. We believe in public safety, but they even make more than our city council. $70,000. So I think the people need to know how much we do appreciate, but we're putting out a lot of money for our police department. Finally, what I'd like to say is that I've read this and studied it. If I had objection, I know how to go in and to get these payment ordinances and see exactly, you know, who authorized it and like that. But the people that come here to speak on this, we do our homework. We're Americans. Our families all have served this country, and I think that nobody should put us down for coming to city council, calling us gadflies. We're American citizens doing our jobs, and I encourage everybody to get involved with our government, because the government is us. When Mayor Rims admitted to me at MAG years ago that I was bemoaning that there's only 17% voters for mayor, he said that low voter turnout serves me fine. That is true, and it's sad, and people need to be aware and be part of our government. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Barker. We have a motion on 20, 22, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Waring. Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item, Vice Mayor.
Next item is number 26. Does anybody want to move?
Move
item
approval of 26 and 27?
We have a motion on 26 and 27.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams.
I was a person that was pushing for this, but at this point in time, I'm not sure that it is still so important to hire these services until we have further information on this whole situation. So I will not support going forward.
Okay, so we have a few cards on 26. Mr. Vint, you wish to testify on 26?
Yes, I am Mr. Vin again, and all you have to do is read the first paragraph. Request to authorize the city manager or his designee. So he just says, hey, Joe Blow, make a decision here. To enter into a contract with Buck Consultants LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. You know what that's for? So they can only be held accountable for a certain amount. People that's ethical don't have to have a limited liability corporation. You just have a corporation. You're responsible, you're accountable for everything. But not this. Pension reform, related professional consulting services. Why do you need to hire consulting services? We voted you people in because we thought you knew something. And why did you appoint a city manager that has no idea what's happening? Because it has to go to a limited liability. And if he doesn't like it, he'll just assign it over to somebody else. And the city controller to disperse funds for this contract. You shouldn't have to be here today discussing all this crap. You should have a qualified people working for the city. And when we get to these S items, I got some more to say about that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vint. Ms. Rogers, do you wish to provide testimony on this item? Good to see
Good
you.
afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Greta Rogers. And I put cards in on 26 and 27, Mayor, which are related items. So may I address them concurrently?
You may.
Thank you. On 26, paragraph 3, Buck Consultants and Kelly Garfinkel Strategic Restructuring, whatever the devil that means. Prior experience with these contracts. Do we have any prior experience with these contractors? Answer yes or no.
Mr. Neymark, the city manager, is recommending this prior experience by this particular entity.
Mayor, members of the council, with Buck Consultants, who we are recommending approval for, we have engaged with them with other projects related to human resources consulting projects, not specifically pension. Kelly Garfinkel has also done other work for the city, but not in this particular realm.
Thank you. On the last paragraph of 26, funding will be through general, special revenue, and enterprise funds. Define special revenue and enterprise funds, and how can we do this mixing of the three lawfully?
Thank you. Mr. Neymark?
Mayor, members of the council, this consulting work is to help us with the COPERS system, City of Phoenix Employee Retirement, Personnel Employee Retirement System. That system covers employees and receives contributions from solid waste, water, convention center, and other funds such as that, in addition to employees in the general fund and the city's contributions from the general fund. So all of those funds are affected.
And what is special revenue?
I'm going to have to turn to an expert on that. I can't think of an example. Mr. Zerker, do you have an example of a good special revenue fund? I can't think of one, but it's any particular, I'll give you an example. The Development Services Fund is not technically an enterprise fund, but when we take in development fees, that helps to pay for the employees and the costs of pension in those areas. Is that, Mario, did I do okay? Okay.
All right, now on 27, which is a similar item. On the last paragraph, I have a concern about the cost to the city of Phoenix. Again, special funding from Human Resources Department, that's general fund. Special revenue and enterprise fund. You answered the question of how these things can be mixed, and I accept your explanation. My concern is, and I know that we've worked with Siegel Company, I know that, and that they have performed good to excellent service for us. So I don't have a problem with them. But I thought we'd already addressed spiking and passed something in this fiscal year that prohibits it. Is it only for one section of the employee complement that is effective and not the entire complement?
Mayor, members of the council, this is actually to do some work on what would be the effect on the city's pension system of the initiative that is before the council today. So Siegel would give us advice as to the impact and effect were that initiative to be successful.
Okay, I would simply comment to you in general. I read an article in the New York Times a week ago last Friday on this general subject of cities converting from a defined benefit program to a 401k. It's costing the city of San Diego, which is in the process of doing this, $344 million. Buyer beware.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers, for providing testimony on 26 and 27. We have a motion on 26. We have a second. Any
Mayor?
comments or questions by the council? Councilman
I
DeCiccio.
do. I can't pass it up. I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to on this. If you look at it, when we needed these services from someone to evaluate the pensions, when the city of Phoenix was working last year to solve the pension crisis, remember that? Well, it didn't do that. It literally took away uniform from spiking, but that's another issue. So now the city of Phoenix is hiring an entity to analyze the initiative. So here's what happens at City Hall. They hire people, they use taxpayer money, and then it creates the picture about how bad it is when the citizens run their own initiatives to try to make reforms that the politicians don't have the courage to do here. So they hire these outside entities to provide the basis for that. That's how it works. Let me give you an example of what happened with Siegel. And I was one of those people that always thought, hey, let's go out in there and do this. Bill Gates remembers this situation. It was brutal. It was so ugly. So they were doing a compensation study. Siegel was. We hired them on, big company. Well, we didn't find out that they were basically getting their directions from the city. So what they ended up doing is we get these booklets here. See these I'm just going to walk everybody through what happens at City Hall. We get these booklets here, and we get them, and we only have like a day to respond to these really technical questions. Because if we don't get our answers in and get an answer back quickly, we have to vote on it the following Wednesday. So what I would do is I would send a list of questions over to Siegel, like, hey, I need to have answers to this. You know what time that they would get back with me, and this happened more than once? 6 o'clock, between 5:30 and 6 o'clock on a Friday night. They would send it to the general city council box. Now that is, it lacks honesty, is what it does. So that's what the Siegel company did. Same company that the city wants to hire now to do this pension outlook, to look at the initiative. Makes you wonder what's really going on behind closed doors and what really happens here at the city of Phoenix. So you would get these reports. I wouldn't see them because they go into the general box until Monday or Tuesday or Monday, and then you have very little time to be able to get a follow-up response if you had to do a vote on a Tuesday. That's how contrived it was. So by voting for this stuff here, it's really setting up the stage of the failure of this pension initiative, that's what we're looking at doing here by voting for this, Mayor. And so I'm going to be voting against it just because it's a sham. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman. Any other comments? Councilwoman Gallego, please.
I have a couple questions for staff.
Of course.
Could you tell us how much interest we're getting from the media and others about the financial impact of pension reform and the ballot initiative? Is this something where we're going to be asked for a lot of data on the impacts?
Mayor, Councilwoman Gallego, we're getting a lot of questions, not solely about the initiative, in addition about pension costs in general, particularly because of the increase in pension costs that are part of the budget, the changes in pension costs that are being considered for employee compensation agreements. And just in general, the mayor and council the voters, the mayor and council referred to the voters something that already created $600 million in savings over the next 20 years. With the implementation of these contracts, which would eliminate the spiking per the council direction last fall, it's another $233 million. But there are many, many more ideas that have been generated that could continue to save the public money in the pension arena and still have a very viable system. So both with the initiative and just in general, a lot of ideas being generated about pension reform. The mayor and council had set up a qualified vendor list back in February for us to be able to pull consulting help and allow us to continue to create ideas for pension reform for COPERS and possibly related to PSPRS. But also, the Siegel contract is really to allow us to model changes to the system, and that was a very valuable process for us to understand. If you have an idea for how to change the system, it helps you get the data to be able to understand what kind of impact that would have. I hope that answers your question.
And the actuarial experience, is that important? Is that something we have outside the city? Is it difficult to do this type of actuarial work?
So we do not have an actuary inside the city. We have an actuary contracted that works for the pension system, but their job is to do work for the system itself. But if the mayor and council were interested in pursuing ideas for pension reform and wanted those to be modeled, that's why we need to have this actuary.
Thank you. I think there's considerable interest in understanding the implications of these public policy decisions, so I will be voting in favor.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. No. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
No.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams. Waring.
No.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. So I think the item, is it 5-4? 5-4 passes on 5-4 vote. Next item is item, do we already do 28? Do we have to draw?
We withdrew 28. So
Okay, next item, Vice Mayor.
Good. Bill, do you want to move this one? 40, item 47.
This is a city-owned property sale, city-owned property, Greenwell.
Mayor, I'd move approval of this item, although I would, see if there's a second first, then I had some comments.
We have
on
motion and a second. Councilman Gage, you have some comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is an issue, this is an item where we're looking at selling some city property. There's been a lot of discussion of this recently. I think this is a right direction for us to be moving as a city, looking at that land that we don't have a use for, don't see any use in the foreseeable future. So I'm supportive generally. On this particular property is located on Greenway, and it's west of 19th Avenue. And it was very important, I thought, to go out in the community in the John Jacobs neighborhood and see if they'd be supportive of this. They were supportive of it under its current zoning, I believe, is R43. For that group that is looking at purchasing this property, I want to be very clear that the community is supportive of its current zoning, but you know, I have no idea what level of support there would be for sort of a radical change in the land use that we have there right now. So I just kind of want to make that comment, make that very clear for the record, but I think that this is absolutely the direction we should be moving with land that we're not using and generate revenue, which we need now, of course, more than ever. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
May I make a quick comment?
Councilwoman Williams, please, of course.
I'm glad Councilman Gates clarified that, because I've also had some calls, where that property is just kind of on the borderline of the districts, and they were very concerned about a change. So I am glad to see we are selling the property with no guarantees of any rezoning. Thank you.
I think it's fair to say not even no guarantees, not an encouragement either. It's just, it's sold as is, yeah. So it's like any other private sale of property, so, okay. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams. Waring. Mayor Stanton.
Yes. On item 28, that item was withdrawn. Mr. Malekian, are you still here? He may have left. Ms. Barker, the item was withdrawn. You had submitted a card. I just want to make sure you're aware of the fact that item 28 has been withdrawn, the Hotel Monroe issue. All right, next item, Vice Mayor.
Councilman Noakowski, do you want item 43?
So let's make a motion. He has a conflict. Do you make the motion?
Thank you. I move approval of item 43.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, noting that Councilman Noakowski has a potential conflict and will not be voting. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Waring. Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman DeCiccio, did you want to move this, or you just?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Oh,
What number is it? I apologize.
57.
57.
46 or 57? I think we're on 46 right now.
Oh, 46.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. You okay moving 46? Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for contract with York Risk Services Group for claims management services. Okay, so Jerry Lenzion wanted to make his opposition to this proposal noted for the record, so we will do so. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Yes. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski. Yes. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, next item is item 57, and then Councilman DeCiccio, did you wish to make a motion and then
Sure.
some comments? Do we have any cards on 57? All right. Rich Shanley, did you wish to testify on 57, provide ASU's perspective? Only if necessary, okay. So Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comments?
Yeah, just a couple comments. One, I want to thank Arizona State University. We've been at this now for, what this is, just as a general description so that I know that the public is aware of, especially the ones that are viewing this, and then for the individuals in the audience. What this is Arizona State University is going to be taking over the management and control of Papago Golf Course. It was an extensive discussion, negotiations with Arizona State University. We think that they're fantastic partners. We also instituted to make sure that our City of Phoenix citizens are protected in here so that it controls the cost that they would have to pay, but it also requires Arizona State University to build the clubhouse at Papago Golf Course. So let me give you kind of a big picture of what's occurring here. The one big picture is that the City of Phoenix Golf Course operations has been losing millions of dollars every single year, and I know staff has been doing an incredible job at working at this, trying to put it together, but it creates a model for what we ought to be doing with our golf courses, looking for the type of partners that partner and that have the expertise in the golf operations. And Arizona State University has a great operation. They are already in Karstens. They're going to be winding that down in order to use funds from Karstens to be able to build out the stadium. That's fantastic for them. This creates a win-win for everybody else. But let me tell you what the overall vision is that my office and others have been working on. It's really a bigger vision than just transferring control of one golf course entity or Phoenix Municipal Stadium to Arizona State University. We have one of the most iconic pieces of property in the city of Phoenix, and that's Papago Park. It is I grew up here. I've been here since a kid. It is the place that is, it's the amount of beauty that you have at Papago Park is astounding. And if you look at it, it's been, you know, kind of just there over the years. So by moving Arizona State University into Phoenix Municipal Stadium, when the Oakland A's left to go to another stadium, we moved in Arizona State University. Not only did we bump up the amount of games that are there, now we brought youth into that area. Now, with Papago Park, or Papago Golf Course, we're now going to be moving Arizona State and more youth into the area. And then there's a third part I've been working with staff with, and I'm hoping to get this through. The practice fields there ought to be moved over there. So what does that happen when you move youth into an area? And if you look at any area in the country, when you have a revitalization project, it's always people that are younger that are willing to come in, take the risk, the ones that are always willing to revitalize an area. It's happening in the downtown area, in Councilman Nowakowski's area, in the Art District, Roosevelt Row, places like that. Look at what happened in downtown Scottsdale as well. So likewise, we have the iconic structures, not only within the Papago Park, but we have the Phoenix Zoo, the Botanical Gardens. Now imagine what it's like when you bring in 19 and 20-some-year-olds now. Think of the good things about it too. But you bring in that kind of youth, they're practicing, they're in there playing the ball games, they're in there within the golf courses. Now you bring in youth into an area and then you start revitalizing it, you start creating a lot more activity. That is the big picture that's being accomplished here. This is 2 parts of the 3 parts that at least I would like to see accomplished. But the third part, moving in the ball fields, would be fantastic. Now you get more youth there. Now it helps reinvigorate the Phoenix Zoo, which is usually pretty packed. My kids are there, and the Botanical Gardens. So you create that kind of life into an area that we haven't seen there in a while. So that's what's occurring here today. It's not just about moving the golf course operations over to Arizona State University. It's about a bigger plan, bigger ideas, and moving big ideas at the city of Phoenix.
Thank you very much. Other comments by members of this council? Councilman Gates, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo all those comments made by Councilman DeCiccio. I did have a question, though,
Please.
Mayor. I think there are concerns among the golfer, some of the employees, frankly, and the golfers who are out there that with this partnership that they may not have the same rights and privileges that they have enjoyed while the city of Phoenix has operated the course. So I wanted to see what staff would have to say to that and what guarantees are there for the golfers that things aren't going to change for them.
Mayor and Councilman Gates, in the contract we have a recommendation, or a clause, excuse me, that ASU will provide the same access for the men's and women's clubs, which are the organized groups that use Papago, that they have today, and they've agreed to that. We also have a clause that they will have 50% of all the rounds available will be available to Phoenix cardholders, which are our resident cardholders. And then the rates that they can charge have to be the same rates that the council's already approved for the Phoenix golf courses. So those 3 items will, we feel, very much guarantee that the access will be the same as they see today.
And Mayor, Councilman Gates, just to add one more thing, the actual operation of this will be done by a nonprofit corporation, and we have required that we have and ASU's agreed, that we have a member on the board of that nonprofit corporation. So the extent to which there are issues that need to be addressed, Mr. Burke, our designee on the nonprofit corporation, will be able to make sure that our concerns are heard.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Other members of this council? All right, I too just want to say thank you to ASU for this ongoing partnership between the city. Obviously, Papago is a legendary municipal golf course, not just here locally, but nationally. And I think ASU's and the foundation that's going to be created, their additional investment in this course is just going to take it to new heights and make it even more popular, probably as popular as it was many years ago. in terms of the number of rounds played and the desirability of it. They're obviously going to be playing championship tournaments here, and that will take this course nowhere but a very, very positive thing. I think it is a possible model as we look at public-private partnerships to keep our golf courses alive. I think it was the right decision as council to stay in the golf business, and as we find these additional partnerships, that's going to take us, I believe, to a very good place with the future of our golf program. So this is a very positive development, and we want to thank ASU for their ongoing partnership. Greta Rogers, you have comments on this item? Good to see you.
I'm glad that the city and ASU are in discussion on this subject for this particular golf course. It's a natural fit for ASU, as is Muni Stadium. Both convenient, easily convenient to the university. The city is not in the golf business and has proved its failure to effectively operate the golf courses, the golf business, in recent time. 17 years ending up with a 15 million plus deficit. That is a record of failure. Sell the golf course to ASU and have within the terms of agreement use, as is described here, for the public that does not interfere with their golf program use and use by their students who want to play golf, who aren't in the golf program, just as members of the citizens of the city of Phoenix and their guests want to play. Sell it. Get it out from under something with which you have no expertise in business or the activity. I don't know why you think this is such a glorious fit. We don't need the continued cost and aggravation of this, and there are no terms in here explicit on what the lease is going to contain. If it's anything like the Muni lease, you've given it away. $2,000 a month would have been appropriate in 1950. Sell both of them, even if you have to do it on a mortgage arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. I wanted to give Mr. Naymark the opportunity to indicate what the guaranteed rent payment would be from ASU to the city of Phoenix as part of this agreement.
Mayor, as a member of the council, the rent from the foundation will be $200,000 a year annually for this. And all of our operation costs and all the capital improvements in the future go to ASU, not to us. So we have no ongoing cost.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, member of this council? Councilman Valenzuela?
I'm also very supportive of it. I know that we are at the beginning stages, but I look forward to having something similar for the Maryville Golf Course, perhaps with Grand Canyon University. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to keep golf in the city of Phoenix, getting creative and bringing on our partners. So for this one, I'm absolutely supportive in this partnership with Arizona State University, the city of Phoenix.
Mayor?
Councilman, please.
Councilman Belt, you would find vast support up here on this council, I believe, to work with Grand Canyon University, to work with them to put something similar to. The golf course operations have been problematic, as you know. We sat on that same committee. And the more we can move off our roles and onto the roles of someone who can actually provide income to us and at the same time take the debt and the costs off, that's always to our advantage to do that. So you'll find support up here to help you with that.
Thank you very much. I think Papago, we don't have debt on Papago itself, right? We have debt on some of the other golf courses, but we don't have current debt on Papago.
That's correct, Mayor.
We don't have anything else?
No. So I think we're, I'm sorry, what was that, Jim?
Mayor, members of the council, we don't have debt on any of our courses. That has been paid off.
Thank you very much. Okay. Others, comments?
I have a
Please, Councilman,
question.
please, huh?
It says a nonprofit foundation will pay $200,000 rent, but at the completion of a new clubhouse, rent will be reduced for $100,000 for the next 3 years. Why?
Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor, the process of having to raise money to build a clubhouse and the sort of initial ramp-up of the clubhouse expenses and revenues created a situation where ASU was asking that we kind of make it a little easy on them for those initial ramp-up years for the clubhouse. After which, and Mr. Burke didn't tack this on to his rent, after which we get 20% of net revenues or the $200,000 a year, whichever's higher. So we anticipate that's going to start to grow once there's a clubhouse there. But there's a few years where it's a little challenging to ramp up operations in a clubhouse, and we wanted to make sure that they could survive that sort of valley of death. It's a brief period.
So what I'm hearing is after 3 years, we'll get 20% from the net revenue, which will then, will that cover the past 3 years that we reduced it
Eventually, we expect that
out,
it will.
or will we gain?
Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor, there's no guarantee of that, but eventually we expect that it will. Well, that 20% ought to be more than $200,000 once that clubhouse is up and operational.
Mayor, I can answer some of that too.
Please, go ahead if you have.
Yeah, if you look at it, your clubhouse generally, because of the dinners, the lunches that they serve, those are your big revenue areas. So getting 20%, whichever is higher. So essentially for the 3 years, the city of Phoenix would lose $300,000 out of that, but it gains a $5.8 million asset built on the structure. Then it also puts itself in play to be able to receive even more revenues, whichever is higher. Remember that. And when you don't have a clubhouse, your revenues are generally pretty low. So your lunches, your dinner crowds, the drinks, all those things that golfers use and drink and do, creates an incredible amount of revenue, and those are usually the cash cows in a golf operations, as someone from Ping might know over there. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, the item passes unanimously. Next item, Vice Mayor.
Move approval item 69, Councilwoman Gallego.
I'd like to declare a potential conflict on this item.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second noting Councilwoman Gallego's potential conflict. She will not be participating in the item. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Yes. Williams.
Yes.
Waring. Yes. Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item, Vice Mayor.
We're going to move them all, Chris?
The new business, yeah.
Move approval items 75 to 84.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any cards? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, I believe, is item number 85.
We'll have to wait till 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Planning and zoning was posted to start at 3 o'clock. So we're going to take a pause in this meeting right now and come back to do planning and zoning items at 3 p.m. So we'll start again at 3 o'clock.